Manchester United, what are they going to do, Dharmesh? Get that out of your mind. I know, just clear your mind.
Closing my eyes.
Yeah, I know. Well,
right. So we do know that they are after the goalkeeper from Royal Antwerp, Senne Lammens. Now, he actually was pulled out of the game in the Belgian league for Royal Antwerp against KV Mechelen over the weekend, and he wanted to play. The reason he was pulled out of that game is because Royal Antwerp did not want to harm the deal with Manchester United with him getting a potential injury. So
is he a number one? Is he like first choice? No, if he went to Manchester United, would he be number one?
Well, this is the situation. So let me tell you about the deal first of all. The talks are advancing over a deal worth around £17.3 million. The payment structure is what is under discussion. Personal terms, not expected to be a problem. Now, initially, I was told that Manchester United were bringing in Lammens because they wanted to add to their goalkeeping department. But I've since been told in the last 24 hours not to rule out a departure in the goalkeeping department as well. And if you read between the lines about what's happening at United just now, we'll come to Rasmus Højlund and how Ruben Amorim has effectively let him know that he's got no further plans at Manchester United. Andre Onana is one to watch, I think, because he was on the bench yesterday. He was fully fit. He travelled with the squad to Fulham, but Ruben Amorim decided to pick Altay Bayindir again for the second game running. So I'm told not to rule out a departure in that goalkeeping department. Now, as far as Lammens is concerned, I know a lot of people have been saying Manchester United are signing yet another number two. And if they feel that Andre Onana is a number two and Altay Bayindir is a number two and Tom Heaton may be a number two, you've got a load of number twos at Manchester United. Whereas I think if he was to come in and there was a departure in the goalkeeping department, then he would definitely be fighting it out to be Manchester United's number one. That is what it would look like from the outset. But it looks like this one is accelerating. It looks like United want to get the deal done. Royal Antwerp, from all the noises that are coming from there, it's been played down a little bit on this side, but on their side, it looks like it's really, really close, this deal.
Okay.
£17.3 million, and there's a big reason why you don't pick him.
You mentioned Højlund. What's going on with him?
Right, so there have been developments with Rasmus Højlund, and this has come from Sky in Italy and our colleague Gianluca Di Marzio. Now, what we have been saying is that Napoli have been in talks with Manchester United over the signing of Rasmus Højlund. They were willing to do a loan with an obligation. That is because AC Milan went in with the deal earlier on in this window, which was a loan with an option, but United and Rasmus Højlund wanted a permanent element added to that deal. So now Napoli have come into the mix. Antonio Conte really wants to bring him to Napoli. Now, the issue here is that Højlund, of course, has been omitted from the first two games of the season. As I mentioned before, Ruben Amorim has made that message. It's a very thinly veiled message. You're not in the plans. But now Napoli are really pushing. That is because they are willing to add an obligation. On paper, it might look like a loan with an option, but that option could turn into an obligation depending on appearances, on goals and on Champions League qualification. So according to Sky in Italy, it looks like that one is moving a tad closer.
We know that they have to offload players. Any news on the others, on the bomb squad?
Yes, Anthony, Real Betis. I've been saying this the whole transfer window. They are still pushing to do a deal for the Manchester United forward, Anthony. The clubs are in contact, but up until now, Betis have been unable to match United's preference. United do not want to do another straight loan with Real Betis. And at the moment, Betis, however creative their loans are, that's all that they're proposing at the moment. So Betis will want to do this deal. Manchester United will want a permanent element in there somewhere. Anthony wants to go back. He had a fantastic time last season, 9 goals in 24 starts.
Right, we've got some...
It looks like Manchester United could also be busy. They have players to sell and positions to fill. Yesterday, they drew 1-1 away at Fulham. And after the game, Gary Neville said the club must buy a midfielder before the transfer. So last week, Gary Neville said that Manchester United need to sign a goalkeeper. Yesterday, he says they need to sign a midfielder. Mark, given the money spent already in this window, is it possible for United to go after a midfielder?
Manchester United have spent over £200 million so far in this summer, which is quite significant when Sir Jim Radcliffe spent most of last season trying to shave costs, make staff redundant, try and make the operation a lot more streamlined because there was a lot of staff there. So they're trying to be creative and clever with what they do, but they have spent significantly in revitalising that front three. New faces at the top end of the pitch. But now, it's funny, Gary Neville saying last week, need to sign a goalkeeper. Now he's saying I need to sign a midfielder. It feels like they're the two areas of concern for Manchester United. Goalkeeper, a six, someone who can bring energy and legs to that United midfield, which is going to be key. They have to be conscious of PSR, Manchester United, despite being one of those sides that turn over significant sums of money. They still have to respect the rules, and there has been a lot of spending there. Outgoings are going to be key between now and Monday, depending on how much they can generate there. But you'd imagine they will still be in the market to sign players, but they're going to have to be creative financially. Maybe a loan with an obligation might be something they look at. But yeah, definitely two positions of concern for Ruben Amorim. And
Carlos Baleba feels like a slightly too expensive deal to do for Manchester United. He was taken off at half-time in Brighton's game against Everton yesterday, but Fabian Hertzler said it was tactical, nothing to do with injury, nothing to do with any speculation around Manchester United. Kevin, another player who's emerged, Angelo Stiller from Stuttgart. He's a player of interest. There's not been any club-to-club contact, but would that be a good fit when you know what United are looking for in a midfielder?
I don't think so, actually. I really like him. He's great passer of the ball, sets the tempo of a game, can control a game, but actually has a minder at Stuttgart in Atakan Karatsor. He does all the dirty work, he does all the challenges, and Stiller can just get on with it and set the tempo. Him alongside Bruno Fernandes, I don't think is that right fit in midfield. The other thing as well is that financially, it's not a deal Stuttgart want to do. And they've dug their heels in with Nick Voltemade, not let him go to Bayern. They're not going to be bullied about this either. So it just financially, in terms of fit, it doesn't really feel like a deal I could see United doing at this stage. OK, we wait to see what they do in terms of midfielders. In terms of goalkeepers, Gary Neville clear that United need to sign one. Altay Bayindir starting in goal once again, despite the fact Andre Onana was fit, he was on the bench. Where do we stand in terms of United signing a goalkeeper in this window?
Well, the player that they're targeting, Senne Lammens, was not involved in the Royal Antwerp squad this weekend. It was their decision to remove the goalkeeper because of speculation surrounding his future. Talks continue with Manchester United over a deal for the 23-year-old. The deal on the table looks to be around £17.3 million. So, again, more investment from Manchester United. What's currently being discussed at the moment is the structure of the finance and the payment terms. So you'd imagine this one is going to progress over the course of this week. Then Manchester United get a new goalkeeper. Then they've got the question about what do they do with Andre Onana moving forward. Does he want to sit on the bench for the next 6 to 12 months? So, yeah, big questions about what happens next at Manchester United. But one of the positions that Gary Neville has cried out for, they're going to get a really talented young international goalkeeper, potentially, that could come in and improve Manchester United's goalkeeping department.
Mark says he's a talented young goalkeeper. Is he good enough, or ready enough, to come in and be United's number one?
I think there are question marks coming into that kind of environment because he's very calm. The mentality is good. Spoken to goalkeeping coaches about him, and he's been seen as a rising star in Belgian football for quite a while, but he was at Club Brugge and he couldn't get past him on Mignolet. He's been excellent for Club Brugge, a former Liverpool goalkeeper. So he went to Antwerp. If you look at his numbers last season, they were excellent. If you look at something called post-shot XG differential, it's basically how many shots is he saving that the data wouldn't expect him to save, and it was very, very high. Antwerp had one of the best defensive records in Belgium last season. So all of that stuff's great. But it's a huge leap to then suddenly be the number one at Manchester United. But one really interesting thing, when Ruben Amorim was at Sporting were very interested in Lammens then and were tracking him then. So there's obviously a like there that's been there for quite some time.
Just educate me on this Monday morning. Post-shot XG.
So basically, you have a plus or a minus, a post-shot XG differential. It's basically how many shots or how many goals are going in that the data either expects it to or not. So if you've got plus 14.5, which he had, basically the club could have conceded 14 more goals if he wasn't in goal, effectively.
There you go.
And James Trafford overperformed his by 12 last season with Burnley, which is hence why they got